What would you do if the moment you reached the airport gate in 2026, you suddenly discovered you're no longer allowed to board the plane, even though you did everything right? Because that's exactly the kind of confusing, slightly terrifying scenario travelers are about to face with the new 2026 boarding policy that almost nobody is talking about yet. Not the airlines, not the news channels, and definitely not the big travel YouTubers who only cover surface-level headlines. And honestly, I don't even know why they're avoiding this, because the moment this policy rolls out fully, it's gonna hit passengers like a slap they never saw coming. The truth is, in 2026, airlines around the world, starting with the US, then Europe, then major hubs in Asia, are shifting to a completely different boarding system, not because they want to improve the passenger experience, like they'll claim in their nice press releases, but because they're trying to solve three major problems: operational delays, luggage chaos, and rising incidents of gate area overcrowding. But here's the twist. Instead of fixing the real issues, they created a new policy that shifts the burden back onto the passengers themselves, meaning you might feel like you're being punished even when you didn't do anything wrong. And the most shocking part? This boarding overhaul is being developed based on data you don't even know airlines are collecting about you: how early you arrive, how much you ask gate agents, how stressed you look, how heavy your carry-on probably is, and even whether you seem like a slow walker. Sounds crazy, right? But wait, it gets even stranger. Under the 2026 plan, airlines will board passengers not by zones, not by seat rows, not by families first or elites or people needing extra time. It's going to be based on an algorithmically assigned boarding behavior rating, a quiet digital score that determines how much of a disruption risk you might be during boarding. And before you think this is some sci-fi, Black Mirror-style rumor, this system is already being tested quietly at 6 major US airports using passive passenger flow sensors, tiny ceiling-embedded analytics devices that track movement speeds and cluster patterns. They're not scanning your face or identity directly, at least not yet, but they are measuring your movement style, whether you pause too long, whether you block walking paths, whether you hesitate, whether you slow down others, and combining that with your historical punctuality pattern, which airlines have been tracking for years without ever openly acknowledging it. This all adds up to a new boarding policy called adaptive sequence boarding, and travel insiders nicknamed it the boarding score. And trust me, passengers will absolutely hate it once they realize how it works, because the algorithm decides your boarding position, not your ticket type, not your seat number, not your loyalty status, not even whether you paid extra for priority. You could pay $150 for fast boarding and still be pushed back if your behavior score is considered high risk for delays. And in 2026, airlines don't plan on refunding that. Imagine standing at the gate and watching people who bought cheaper tickets, people who checked in later, or even people sitting behind you casually stroll past you because the algorithm likes their movement efficiency. Sounds insulting, right? Like the airline suddenly knows you better than you do. And if you're thinking, well, maybe it's good, maybe it will make boarding faster, you should know that early trials are showing the opposite. Passengers are confused, arguing with gate agents, demanding explanations the airlines won't give, because the algorithm's rating categories are private. A traveler could unknowingly get a low boarding score if they were seen rushing, or if they took a wrong turn in the terminal, or if they lingered too long while browsing snacks. Even something as innocent as walking slowly because you were tired could drop your rating. And here's a creepy detail. Airlines plan to combine this with dynamic compliance scoring, meaning if you don't store your carry-on quickly enough or fail to follow overhead bin instructions during one flight, it impacts your next flight's boarding position, kind of like getting points on your driving license, except nobody tells you when you get them. This could mean a family traveling together gets split up automatically into different boarding orders because the algorithm assigns scores per individual, not per reservation, which means mom might board early, dad might board late, and kids could be anywhere in between. It's total chaos, but airlines are convinced this reduces clustering at the gate area because the adaptive sequence trickles passengers in one by one based on predicted speed. But let me tell you the part that will make travelers furious. In 2026, passengers with rolling suitcases may automatically receive later boarding positions because the new system assumes they take longer to maneuver the aisle. So if you travel with a suitcase instead of a backpack, boom, you get penalized. And it gets even messier. Passengers carrying certain irregular bag shapes, musical instruments, duffel bags, oversized shopping bags from duty-free stores, may also be pushed back automatically because sensors predict they'll slow down the aisle. Even passengers with a knee brace or wearing high heels have been flagged in early tests for aisle delay likelihood. which means your fashion choice can literally push you into boarding group 8 or 9, no matter what ticket you bought. And the strangest part? Gate agents can't override the system during the full rollout. The chain of control is shifting from humans to autopilot decision-making. So when you complain, the agent might say, "Sir, I understand, but the system has locked the boarding order and I can't adjust it." How do you argue with a computer? And guess what airlines are planning to say publicly? They'll promote it as a smarter, smoother, stress-free boarding experience. Even though internal evaluations show passengers took longer to organize their luggage because the boarding felt random and confusing. But airlines love it because it reduces the amount of time passengers stand at the gate, and gate crowd control is now a top priority after several major airport incidents in 2024 and 2025. Another thing airlines won't tell you: if the sensors detect that you walk fast, arrive on time, don't pause around the boarding area, and handle your bag efficiently, the system quietly boosts your score, which means some travelers will get rewarded without even knowing why. A few lucky people might consistently board earlier than everyone else just because the algorithm thinks they're predictable movers, and they'll never hear an explanation. Meanwhile, slower-moving travelers, elderly people, parents with kids, nervous flyers, people recovering from injury, may be pushed later and later, creating a frustrated divide among passengers. And picture this: you get to the airport early, ready to relax, but an AI system decides you boarded too slowly 2 months ago, so today you're stuck in the last group. You could be an elite-level frequent flyer with 1,000 flights under your belt and still be placed behind a first-time traveler who happens to walk faster. The fairness of the system is, well, it's basically non-existent. But the airlines don't care because it cuts down their overhead bin battles and aisle congestion. And here's where the story gets even more unbelievable. Some airlines plan to gamify boarding scores in late 2026, letting passengers boost their rating by watching safety tutorials in the app, arriving earlier, or completing optional digital readiness checks. It's like turning air travel into a weird, stressful homework assignment where you have to earn your boarding position. And trust me, passengers will hate this. Nobody wants homework to get on a plane. And while all this sounds bizarre enough, there's another layer airlines are quietly layering in: predictive load balancing. What's that? It's a system that estimates how much stuff passengers are likely to bring on board and arranges the boarding order to distribute bag weight evenly across the cabin. Not for safety, but so flight attendants don't have to deal with too many cramped bins in one area. So if your last 3 flights had photos showing you carrying heavy bags, your score drops. And before you say, "But how do they have photos?" Remember, airports are full of cameras, and those cameras aren't just for security anymore. Several airports feed anonymized silhouette images into weight prediction models. They claim it's not linked to identity, but airlines get the bag load estimate, and that affects your score. All this is the 2026 boarding policy, and the part that scares me most is how passengers won't truly understand it until they're standing at the gate, trying to figure out why the boarding feels completely random. It's not random. It's algorithmic, it's quiet, it's opaque, and it's going to frustrate millions of travelers who are used to the old system where at least you knew why you were boarding early or late. But now, it's a silent ranking of how fast, predictable, and efficient you appear to be as a human being moving through space. And here's the ironic twist. Airlines think passengers will adapt over time, but they don't realize that travelers hate anything that feels unfair or unclear. And this new system is both unfair and unclear at the same time. So the real question is, how will travelers respond when this becomes normal? Will people start changing how they walk at airports? Will they rush through terminals to avoid being scored lower? Will families teach their kids to walk faster? Will elderly passengers feel embarrassed or stressed? Airlines didn't think about the psychological side of this, but once the first viral meltdown happens at a gate in 2026, once the first lawsuit is filed, once the first influencer exposes the algorithm, things might shift again. But for now, this is the future of boarding: silent, algorithm-driven, behavior-scored, unpredictable, and absolutely hated by travelers once they realize what's happening. And honestly, maybe the airlines forgot that passengers aren't cargo. We're humans, and we don't want a computer deciding when we step onto a plane, especially when the rules aren't clear and the scoring system treats us like moving puzzle pieces instead of actual people. So if you're flying in 2026, get ready, because the new boarding policy everyone will hate isn't coming. It's already here, creeping quietly into airports, waiting to surprise millions of travelers who still think boarding groups actually mean something.